Hello and good morning. Welcome to another Raw episode where I'm just sharing whatever is on my mind. In today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about aging, being 30s, and how it's seen as old, and overall the anti-aging regimen that's out there that really makes a lot of us feel bad for getting older, which is unfortunate because aging is such a beautiful thing. So, hello, my name is Daisha, and I'm just using this time just to talk, just to speak about things on my mind, but I also wanted to share the beauties and amazingness of life. And so that's kind of what this is. Maybe I'll turn this into a series. I don't know yet, but we're just kind of going with the flow. No editing, just completely raw. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about aging because I'm currently 32 years old. I will be turning 33 in a couple months, actually, which I'm super excited for. But as someone who hangs out with or just like know a lot of 20-year-olds, and also being part of the internet, I feel like aging, and in general too, not even just the internet, you'll see it everywhere outside, right? That aging is supposed to be a bad thing and that 30s is considered old. I'm in classes or groups that are predominantly 20-year-olds, mid 20s, and they oftentimes like to pick fun of me, calling me like grandma or just like making me older than what it seems, I suppose, because I'm kind of like, 5, 6, 7 years older than them. It's not like a huge difference, but I definitely think there is this kind of scare of being 30s and that 30s is considered like really old, which is kind of wild because 30s is super young. I mean, I feel very vibrant and energetic. Actually, honestly, I feel more vibrant and energetic than like my 20-year-old friends. I have so much energy. I just want to go out and do all these things. And I'm just living life, loving life. Honestly, it's all about taking care of your health and your body because I've seen people talk about being in their 40s and 50s and being the healthiest they ever been. They're at their peak prime and they're in their 50s, right? So a lot of it is just taking care of your health. But at the end of the day, we all age. The 27-year-old is eventually going to be 32 years old, like I am. And so if you have the perception that 30s is old, it's going to happen to you eventually. And so basically, like, how's that perception going to be upon you, right? I know a lot of 20-year-olds are very scared of getting older, and not just 20-year-olds, right? 30-year-olds are scared of getting older, etc. But the thing is, aging is inevitable. It's just going to happen. So it's kind of like, why not accept it? I have friends that are slightly older than me. I have one friend in particular that comes into mind, and she's 34, 35 maybe, but she tends to make comments about being old. And I have so many, it's not just her, honestly. I have so many friends that are in their 30s and they all have that same mentality of just like, oh, we're old. And I look at them kind of like, I don't know. I don't feel old. Like, I feel fine. And it's so funny because I do feel like I have a range of friends. Like, I have people that are in their 20s, but I also hang out with people in their 50s and 60s even. And honestly, my 50-year-old friends and 60-year-old friends can get down. Like, they have so much energy, more energy than me, it feels like, that it's kind of just interesting how I feel like a lot of it is mentality. I feel if you really think that you're old or like decrepit, I don't know, or you're just losing in life because of your age or whatever number you are, then I feel like that really reflects who you are. Because a lot of people think that I'm much younger than what I am. When I tell people I'm 32, they're very shocked. They're like, oh, I always thought you would be younger than me, and I'm 27. But I feel like it's because of the energy that I put out. I put out a very youthful energy because I am youthful for one. Like, 32 is literally not old, but at the same time, like, because I am youthful in nature, it doesn't kind of like limit me, if that makes sense. Whereas like maybe if you're 26, 27, if you feel like you're old and life's like over basically, which is kind of again wild, then I feel like that really reflects in how people perceive you, but also like the energy that you put into yourself. And so 18, I think, is a beautiful thing. 30s is super young, by the way. But so it's 40s, 50s. I mean, nowadays people are living to like 100 plus. My husband's parents, they're in their 70s, I think, or like approaching 70s. And they are some of the most active people I've ever been around. I actually did a trip with them and like their friends. And so I was literally hanging out with a bunch of 70-year-olds, like 60, 70-year-olds, and they're hiking, they're playing, they're partying, like they're just living life to the fullest, and so much energy, like no sickness and health like at all. They're just very vibrant, energetic people. And I'm like, these people are more energetic than some 20-year-olds. And again, I just feel like if you really take good care of yourself, for one, but two, like if you really have that energy, like that youthful energy, it really reflects and shows. Like I'm sure these people are going to live very long lives because they're taking really good care of themselves and are also really focusing a lot on their mental and emotional health, right? They have community and they're playing and hiking and being outside. And so these things are also things that we tend to neglect these days as younger people, which I feel like takes a toll onto our bodies and minds, because a lot of us do feel like we lack community and we lack friendship and we lack playfulness because maybe the way we perceive things, or maybe it's due to social media as well. But honestly, if you're with community and you are playful, that will allow you to live longer. They actually have been saying that with millennials and possibly even Gen Z have like a lower life expectancy than previous generations. And so life expectancy has actually gone down. So my husband's parents are expected to live longer than we are, even though we're younger. Ideally like the newer generations live longer, but it's actually reversing. And I feel like a lot of it is due to mental health struggles. A lot of young people we experience, and it's totally understandable too that we do have these experiences and feelings because it's been kind of ingrained to us by society and by media. So, for example, like anti-aging is really huge, right? You have to look young to be beautiful. You have to look young to be attractive. And if you aren't young, then you don't get anywhere in life. And that is true, like to an extent. Like it's true that people do value youthfulness and that you can be treated differently based off your youth or your beauty, which can be tied to youth. And I think that's really unfortunate that that is the case because aging is such a beautiful experience. But yeah, when you have, especially companies where companies are pushing anti-aging regimens on to people, especially women, it's good for companies because they make profit off of this, but it harms us as society. Because have you ever noticed, like back in the day, if you like look at old pictures of people in their 20s or 30s, like years ago, they looked a lot older than we do now. But I think it was also more like socially acceptable. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, like I have to stay out of the sun and do all these things or get Botox. But now, because it's been so pushed into our media, and especially because corporations have taken a big control on a lot of things, now we believe that we need these things in order to be accepted into society, and society believes that. So Botox, for example, I feel like Botox was really not a huge thing. Like me in my 20s, I feel like people weren't really getting Botox, but I feel like 20-year-olds now are getting Botox, and I feel like it's more common now. And I feel like it's being pushed more now. Like you'll see it a lot on like TikTok and social media, like, oh, I got Botox, or day in life of me getting Botox or something like that. But I feel like, again, that kind of plays a role into like how companies and how media has changed a lot, because now we push these things and now it's considered the norm. And so therefore, if you don't get Botox or if you don't do these certain things, then you will age, and that is bad. And again, that's really unfortunate. But it's not just like Botox. I mean, it's also surgeries, but also even if we think about like makeup or like shaving industry, right? Like back in the day, like, shaving legs, for example, for women really wasn't a thing. But when shaving or like razor companies were able to realize that they can make a profit significantly by encouraging women to like shave their legs, and they push that into the media, now that's like our beauty standard, right? Now, if you're a woman and you don't shave your legs, it's considered unhygienic instead of just natural humanness. And I feel like the same thing is with the anti-aging movement, where it's just like, if you aren't partaking into like these regimens that companies push upon us because that's all we see, then we're going to age, and that's bad. But again, aging is inevitable. At the end of the day, like, it's going to happen to the best of us. So why worry about aging when it's just part of life? And also, as someone who lived in South Korea for like a few years, it's definitely amazing to see how big it's even pushed there, because it's a lot worse in South Korea, because in Korea they have a bigger beauty standard. But so I would like, a lot of times I would see women covered up head to toe, even though it's like hot in the summer, covered up in head to toe, just so they don't get the sun on them, because one, they don't want to get darker, which is like also unfortunate, because I'm like, hey, I'm dark and I'm happy. But two, because also like the sun can accelerate aging. And so literally, like, you'll be at beaches and nice areas, and like they will just be covered up and they just want to stand in the shade, and they don't want to like go out and experience the funness of the beach. They would rather just sit in the shade, and then that's just their life. Like, they don't experience the life itself because they're too scared of getting darker or aging. And for me, I'm like, no, I'm going to be swimming. I want to explore the beach. I want to be outside. I want to go hiking. I want to see the nature. I don't mind, like, it's the sun. Like, it fall, like, it's vitamin D, which is important. A lot of us are vitamin D deficient. But people are willing to forgo life experiences and instead like really trap themselves and their minds into needing to be this perfect beauty standard. But again, age is inevitable. It's going to happen to us. So the earlier you accept it, the more free you can be, basically. Why trap yourself into a box where you can't enjoy life and you can't enjoy things, and you're constantly stressing and worrying about how you look for the rest of your life? Like, do you really want to live that? Like, so many people discover that life is more than just that when they're like in their 70s or 80s or something, or when they're on their deathbed. That's already, it's already towards the end. So it's great if you experience it or understand it as 70 and hopefully live to 100. That's 30 amazing years of freedom. But why not be 30 or 20 and experience like 80 years of freedom? Like, wouldn't that be so cool? But at the same time, I totally get it, because companies do push this upon us. I also partake in skincare regimen because my skin gets really dry, and if I don't, then it's very uncomfortable. But at the same time, I do accept that aging is inevitable. I will eventually get wrinkles and I will eventually look older, and that's totally okay. So I kind of wanted to talk about escaping the system a little bit and then changing your mindset. So I kind of spoke about it earlier, but escaping the system just kind of basically means like, why, again, putting yourself into those boxes, because life is truly meant to be experienced. You only live once, and you do not want to regret this life. Like, it goes by quick. Like, I'm 32, about to turn 33 in November. I remember being 22, right? Yeah, I'm already 32, and I'm going to be 42. And so escaping the system just basically means that try not to let society or companies, don't let companies profit off of your limitedness in life. right? Like if you are limited in life and you trap yourself into a box, companies make money off of that, right? So they can profit off of people's insecurities and people's lack of enjoying life. And I think that's like super messed up, of course. So I think just learning how to like escape the system, and I think it's okay to take care of yourself in the way you want to take care of yourself, but don't limit yourself of life experiences just because of aging, or don't stress yourself out so much. Like a lot of us get so stressed because we're worried about wrinkles, and people are drinking straws, like anti-wrinkle straws, and even some kids nowadays are getting into like skincare routines instead of playing as much. But yeah, escape the system. There's more to life than just nitpicking yourself. Like, you're a beautiful human being. You shouldn't have to live your whole life nitpicking yourself and worrying about aging. Because, at least my next point, that aging is a beautiful thing, because not everyone gets to make it, right? Like, there are people who are not 32. There are people who should be 32 with me and are not. They stopped at 27, or they stopped at 22, or they stopped at 15, or they stopped at 9, right? Some kids don't even make it past 6. And that is very unfortunate. But at the same time, that also means that we should be very grateful that we have made it past 6 or 9 or 15 or 22 or 30. Because I have known people even in my high school that had unfortunately passed, and they didn't get to experience 30s at all. Like, it's just not a thing. Like, they should be here alongside with me, 32, we're in the same grade. But, they stopped at, freshman year of college. So likewise, I really hope that I can make it to 40 or 50 or 60s. Like, I literally was telling my 65-year-old friend, I was like, man, it's so cool that you're 65. Like, I can't wait to be there. And then I had to pause. I was like, if I'm lucky to get there, because there's a good chance that I might not make it to 65. Maybe not a good chance, but it's a decent-ish chance. I mean, I'm more likely to make it to 65 than not. I shouldn't say that, but you honestly never know like what will happen at 65. Like, within the next 33 years, like a lot could happen in 33 years that will allow me to not make it to 65. And so I think just really appreciating and being very grateful the fact that you are here on this earth still at your current age, and that it shouldn't be a fearful thing to age, but a thing to celebrate and be super excited for. Like, I am always so happy when it's my birthday. I'm like, yay, I'm 32. I'm super excited to be 33 in a couple months, and I'm gonna be really excited when I hit 40, because these are milestones that, again, not a lot of people get to make it to. And I think when you kind of change your mind of lack and instead of abundance and gratitude, I feel like life becomes more beautiful and more willing to be celebrated. And I feel like you also have a deeper appreciation for it as well. And so you won't be as scared that you're aging, but instead like very happy and grateful and thankful that you're aging, and that you can celebrate life a little bit more instead of living in lack and fear, which is key when it comes to navigating life. And so, yeah, not everyone makes it to a certain age. So definitely be thankful that you are the age you are, and instead of running away from it, because there are so many people who have taken their last breaths begging and crying that they could make it another day, but didn't. I knew another person, a friend-ish, I guess, in a gaming community, because I used to be involved into video games, like competitive gaming. And we met when I was a teenager, and he was a little bit older than me, but he unfortunately had gotten cancer, and it was pretty bad. And he was like tweeting a lot about it and posting on his Instagram. So it was very eye-opening to kind of see like real time someone experiencing cancer and slowly dying. And a lot of his tweets and messages would just be like, I wish I can live another day. Like, I am scared of dying. Like, I do not want to die. Like, please don't take me away. Please don't take me away. Like, I want to live. I want to be here. I want to be with my friends and family and my girlfriend. And he was just begging every day on Twitter and social media. And unfortunately, the day came and he had lost a battle with cancer. But there are people out there, right, that would hate the fact of being his age, whereas he would have begged and begged to have aged another day. So I feel like just respecting people who didn't get to live another day, I feel like it's important. And I feel like when we're kind of a little bit hateful of aging and can't believe we're getting older, I feel like it definitely is taking life for granted. And I do feel like it can be a little bit disrespectful to people who have not been able to make it. But again, I also totally understand why people are fearful of aging. So I don't fully blame people at all, honestly. It's literally just companies that does this. And it breaks my heart that companies have people in such a chokehold where we can't even enjoy life anymore when there's people begging for an extra day. I don't know, just something to keep in mind. Let's see. So my last point I want to say is to truly live life, because life is beautiful. And if we spend so much of our time and money like trying to avoid aging or just being fearful of life, then life will go by in a flash, and then we're in our deathbeds and we wish that we did more. Pretty much everyone on their deathbed, you will see like a lot of those interviews. I'm sure if you just go on YouTube and type in interviews of the dying or something like that, almost all of them said like, I wish I did more. I wish I lived more. I wish I traveled more. I wish I was more authentically myself. And I think that's so important because there is more to life than just stress and trying to stop the inevitable. So I will say, like, definitely live life. Like, live life. Go out there. Save your money on, instead of Botox, because wrinkles is literally inevitable. Save that money and go on a trip. Do things you've always wanted to try doing. Like, I took swimming lessons last year. That was really fun. And 2 years before that, like, I did pottery. That's really cool. I tend to not spend a lot on the external, even though, again, understandable why people do. I'm definitely not hating the player. I'm definitely hating the game. But life is short, and I think instead of worrying or stressing, like, I wish I could tell my Korean friends, like, hey, let's go on this beautiful hike. Like, it could be a fun experience instead of being scared of the sun. Like, hey, let's go to the beach. Like, let's all play. Like, I'm in the beach swimming and having fun, and my friends are in the shade because they're too scared to get darker. Imagine living your life like that in just constant fear instead of experiencing it for what it is. There is so much more to life than what meets the eye or like what we've been told to do. Work, and then spend all your money on things so companies can make more profit and at the expense of everyone else's happiness. Like, government and society isn't for the people, it isn't for like self-actualizing the people. Self-actualizing is knowing that life is all about being your authentic self. It's about connection, friendships, love, community, experiences. But instead we're taught that it's about hustle and overworking and being a dog to your company and buying stuff to feel better, and Amazon and beauty trends and getting the new clothes and getting a new car and then getting a new phone. And then people aren't happy. We're not happy. Why are we happy? And it's like, oh, probably because those things don't make us happy. At the end of the day, they don't. They're just things. When you die, they don't come with us. But you know what comes with us? The memory and love. That's what comes with us. The love. Love is the answer, guys, honestly. But I feel like when I go through life experiences, I feel like I experience more love because I have more love for the world and the people in it. and for myself as well. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to experience. It feels great to be free. It feels great to not be tied down. And not to say like I'm immune, like I am not immune. Like I still go through a lot of experiences and difficulties. Being a woman, especially a woman of color, that also has another subset of social pressures in life. But at the same time, I do think that life is all about experiences and connection. And so I do try to pour most of my energy into those things. And I think that everyone should do the same. And so, yeah, my last point is basically is live life and live within yourself. Do things that brings you joy, because at the end of the day, these other things outside of us, these things like physical things like this phone will not, this doesn't make me happy, right? This isn't coming to the grave with me. It's just a phone. It's just there. It's a tool. But aging is a beautiful thing, and we have a short life. Life will go by very quickly. So experience it as much as you can. Be appreciative of the life you have. Be thankful. Live in gratitude. Because before you know it, we'll all be on our deathbed. Death is inevitable. As scary as it sounds, it's true. Like, we are going to die. We are in the process of dying. That is happening. Like, as soon as we are born, we are dying. And I don't mean that to say that to be depressing, English, depressing. I'm saying it as a wake up call. Like, we are actively dying. And so what can we do while we're still on this planet that brings us joy? Things that we want to do. Because, yeah, aging is beautiful, and hopefully that we can make it to 100. That's my goal. My goal is 100 plus. That's my goal. Hopefully it's your goal too. I hope you don't look down on the age you are, because it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, I just want to share that, you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. Life is beautiful. And so I hope that this little chat on aging was informative and hopefully inspiring. And I would love to hear your comments below. And I look forward to expanding more on these little chit chats. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully people like them. We'll see. But yeah, hope you have an amazing amazing day in life. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.